Okay, well, pull that off. Alright, ain't that pretty good? Ain't all bad. Ain't all bad. Here we go. No bad. No bad at all. Let me try that. Hey, get that up there. Yeah. Well, I'll see what happens. Yeah, here. Over here and do this and do that. Now bugging me. Yeah, bugging me. We'll see what we can do. Yeah. Okay, we got to get through this. So we're in the prologue still. Oh, we got to get through this prologue like pronto. Time is it? Okay, I need to keep track of time. Okay, 5, 10. What about there? Okay, okay. So we've got Sandor, and he wants to be an artist, a famous artist. You know, I mean, we're talking about the devil here. Okay, this is the book. Good. Oh, and the author. Let's see, where's the author? Oh, right there. We gotta get, you know, and this is within copyright stuff. That's what's cool about reading old books, is because it's out of the public domain. Or it's in the public domain. Here we go. Okay, prologue. So Sandor is, you know, he wants to be an artist. He's in Monte Carlo or somewhere. Here we go. Oh well. So we're on the we're continuing the prologue, part 2. Ah well, it was over, thanks to his own folly, and now he must face a future of mediocrity, of middle-aged bohemianism, which means unorderly habits, threadbare clothes and indifferent food, a jaunty face put upon a bad business, an old age of indigence, and then oblivion. That's some heavy words. That's why I like this book. Stick with. We got a lot. We got a long way to go. How do you do that? Yeah. We're just barely getting started, but it's worth it. I'll tell you. Sandor made a rapid mental calculation. Yes, he had his return ticket to Paris, and enough in the bank there to carry him back to Budapest. As for the woman who had led him into the scrape by her extravagance, well, she must take care of herself. She was used to doing this, and did it well. He smiled grimly to himself. The woman tempted me, he said. A little color had crept into his handsome eyes and dark face, with the large brown eyes, its finely cut nose and cleft chin. He buttoned his frock coat with its jaunty white flower tightly around him, gave his mustache a defiant twist upward, and turned it to go. There, confronting him, dressed with exquisitely quiet good taste, stood the croupier. And that's in italics. Just in case you were reading, but you're not. I am. Okay, let's start that again. There, confronting him, dressed with exquisitely quiet good taste, stood the croupier, who had raked in his gold pieces. No, it was not he. Yes, it was. Was it? No, decided Sandor at last. This stranger resembled the other man in a general way, but now that he looked closely, he saw the difference. The likeness lay only in the greenish yellowness of the complexion and in the sardonic curl of the corners of his mouth. This man was a magnate, a cavalier. Sandor, in whom, as in all his countrymen of the lower middle class, respect for the aristocrat was deeply rooted, mentally repeated to himself these Hungarian and Austrian equivalents of the word. The stranger looked, on closer inspection, like some grand seigneur. Incognito, a member of a royal house, perhaps. One meets all kinds of people at Monte Carlo, drawn by a common magnet. The stranger, the stranger smiled pleasantly. Pardon my intrusion, he said, with the quiet assurance of a man sure of his station, who addresses on socially equal ground a social inferior. Pardon my intrusion, but I could not help watching you a little while ago at the tables. I was sitting quite near. That accounts for the fancied resemblance, said Sandor to himself. I must have got him mixed up with the croupier. He lifted his hat and bowed. Am I wrong, continued the stranger, in assuming that you plunged rather too heavily? Sandor flushed painfully, a hasty word on his lips. Pray hear me out, continued the stranger hastily, holding up his right hand, whose long tapering fingers caught the artist's attention. Yeah, you want those long little tapery fingers. I am much older than you are. This is the devil talking. Just that's the stranger, just so you know. I am much older than you are, continued the unknown, the stranger, with unmistakable breeding and no less evident desire to conciliate. Much older than I look. I have seen much of this world. It is my hobby. I might say it is my business, to observe people and draw conclusions. Monsieur is perhaps connected with the casino? Asked Sandor with unpleasant intent. Young man, the reply was given with impressive dignity. In the place that calms me, I am the master. Oh, in the place that claims me, I am the master, undisputed. That would be hell. It is my realm, my own. Its affairs are far larger and far more enduring than the bungling little enterprise in there. Believe me, I mean to be your friend. Will you listen? The stranger took his right elbow in his left hand and caressed his long pointed chin with his right. Okay, like that. His coal-black eyes gazed quietly at the painter from deep dark sockets under the arched, finely penciled eyebrows. Pardon me, said Sandor, surrendering to an influence which he felt but could not define. I was very rude, but believe me, I am terribly upset. Now we understand each other. The stranger took out a golden cigarette case, on which Sandor saw a princely crown and an undecipherable monogram, and lighted a long, fragrant cigarette. You see, he continued, now we have returned to our starting point. All misunderstandings have been eliminated, and you have acknowledged that I am right. I never make mistakes. That's what gave me courage to speak to you, Sandor Tautre. The artist gave a start. You know me, he asked, much surprised. Oh yes, I know you, replied the other. turning from faultless French to equally impeccable Hungarian. You see, my dear, sir, in my leisure hours, which are scant, I am a lover of art, if I may boast, a connoisseur, a discerning collector, and a patron of young talent. That comes back. Here he bowed with an inimitable grace and dignity. La la la. A court sword, ruffles, a golden snuff box would have graced that bow much better, the painter's trained eye discerned. When I speak of young talent, continued the cultivated voice, I mean you. Oh, I am no stranger in Paris. I may say that I am no stranger in any of the capitals of the world. But to our affair, since you consent that I shall make it mine as well as yours. Here he glanced questioningly at Sandor, who bowed but did not speak. The painter was, in fact, nonplussed. Of this distinguished stranger's kind intention he could no longer doubt. But why? Why? The whim of an august personage taking his vacation incognito? A philanthropist finding work to his hand? Okay, so Sandor's like, who's this guy who wants to give me a bunch of money to do something? Right. Sandor is the artist. The stranger and the other and all that is the devil. Okay. A collector bent on making a sharp bargain with a promising talent in need? Sandor gave it up. Ooh. He began to have a kindly feeling, however, for this courteous gentleman who was so tactful, so considerate, so patient. Well, sir, he said. The respectful address fell from his lips almost unconsciously. Well, sir, since you seem to know so much, I may as well own up. Yes, it is true, I have made a mess of my life. In 3 short hours. All I can do now is to go to the devil. The inexperience of youth, smiled the stranger. And so you think you are going to the devil because you have gambled a little, only a little more than you could afford, and believe that you will have to take to painting pot boilers, or perhaps will have to go back to giving drawing lessons. Pray, what profit would there be to the devil in your sinking to obscure mediocrity? That way drab virtue lies, my young friend. The sins of the poor. Do you think that they would give him pleasure? They are absolved of them by their clergy before they die, and with reason. They are rarely great enough to be worth the devil's while. Sandor looked up in astonishment. Holy crap. A grin passed over the stranger's features and was gone in a flash, leaving only a sardonic smile at the corners of his mouth.